Plains Indian Wars by John Beckwourth. How to play snippet number 2, the covered wagons. So in the game Plains Indian War, these white cubes represent the covered wagons. And upon a white disc draw, with the exception of the first turn, you would take out 2 white cubes from the pool, the ready pool, and bring them to St. Louis. And then you would move the ones in St. Louis out onto the wagon trails, and anyone on the wagon trails already, any wagon cubes on the wagon, any white wagon cubes on the wagon trail would move 1 region further. If that would take them into the Rockies and off the board, then that would score a victory point for the U.S. player. So in the first turn, you already have it set up 2, so there's no need to bring in 2 in the first turn. But you can bring them into the first northern region, adjacent to St. Louis, or the southern region, or you can split them up. And then everybody else in the trails would move 1 region further. Okay. Now, let's look at these trails. There are 2. The northern trail is called the Mormon Trail in the north. Until you get to here, and it splits to the northern direction, it's the Oregon Trail, takes you into the Rockies. In a more southern direction, it's the California Trail. Okay. And then in the southern plains, there's the Santa Fe Trail. Travel along this white line and into the Rockies here. All right. What else do we want to cover here? So the way the wagons move is through that white disc draw. And in an engagement, if you roll a blank, then the wagon will move 1 region further. There's no influence movement. For example, in this situation here, the cavalry player on its turn could not move its cubes with the wagon. It cannot do that. It would have to move alone. So only the white disc will automatically move these cubes 1 region further. And there's a situation in engagements that we'll cover. All right, so let's go to an engagement. And in an engagement, here's a scenario here. Let's say it's the Southern Plains. They do a group movement into this region here, and they're going to attack here. The rules are that you have to eliminate the protecting forces. You cannot attack the wagons until all of these are eliminated. So the orange would have to eliminate the blue cavalry cube or the brown settlers cube, or have them retreat. Now in that situation, that scenario, let's say they're fighting and blue rolls a treaty and orange rolls a treaty. Well, the fighting's over. There can be no more attacks, including on the wagons. Okay, but in a scenario where these are eliminated, and the same would go in this situation. If orange attacked, they would have to eliminate the purple first. So in that scenario, the wagon can be attacked. So let's go back to here. So they can attack. How do they attack? Well, the orange attacks as normal. They're going to roll, if there was 1 orange, 1 dice or die. If there was 2 or more, as we have, they're going to roll 2 dice. Wagons are different. They're going to use the settler's dice, and only 1 wagon is going to be attacked at a time. And they roll a minimum of 2 dice. So these 4 attacking this 1 will roll a dice. And we'll go through the various scenarios that can occur in that situation. So let's move this back over here. So the battle's on, and we have a treaty symbol and a blank and a treaty symbol. So 2 treaty symbols, that engagement ends. No more fighting, but also notice there's a blank here. Anytime there's a blank, that wagon cube that's targeted will move up unless it was eliminated. Now, in this situation, they're moving up into a region already containing enemy forces. No further engagements can take place. Wagons do not initiate combat. So in the white disc draw, for example, and this guy moves up, there's no engagement. The engagement occurs on the Plains Indians' turn when they use a card to initiate an engagement by moving into the area, or use a card to attack. It's going to take a card to attack that wagon. Okay, so back to this scenario again. Let's say we had this situation. So both sides has a hit. Special rule, the Indians need 2 hits. They only got 1. So no wagons are eliminated. However, 1 hit from the wagon die roll is going to eliminate 1 Indian cube. So this guy would be eliminated. Okay, let's do another scenario. Let's do this. All right. So 2 hits from the Southern Plains tribe. That's going to eliminate that 1 wagon that's being targeted, but they're going to be hit themselves at a cost of 1 Indian. This blank won't apply because the cube is targeted is already eliminated. So in that scenario, the Indians had 2 hits. They would remove this wagon, and that wagon will be placed over here on the Indian side into this box to signify 1 victory point. And then, of course, the Southern Plains lost the cube. All right, and I'm trying to think of other scenarios. Well, I think we covered it already. Let's say, let's just do it. Here we go. Here's a treaty. 1 treaty is not going to cause a treaty to happen. 1 hit's not going to cause an elimination of a wagon. We had this situation. So treaties have occurred, so that's going to neutralize these. Well, actually this one. No killing takes place. The engagement is over. And there's no blanks, so that's how it ends. All right, what else do we want to cover? The Indian forces can call off the attack anytime. They don't have to continue the attack. The attack will go on until the Indians are eliminated, or the wagons are eliminated or moved on, right? Or, again, the Indians may retreat, or the wagons retreat forward, or a treaty continues, or the Indians simply call it into the engagement. All right, so it's pretty difficult to attack the wagons, and it's easy to eliminate the attacking Plains Indians forces, so may not want to do it unless you are bringing in combined forces. So in this scenario, we have Northern Plains have joined the Southern Plains, and on an orange card, they can use influence movement. These 4 can bring in these 2 into here. And now the scenario is you're rolling 2 green dice and 2 orange dice to double your chances of getting a hit, simultaneously targeting 1 wagon at a time, so simultaneously with 2 brown dice. And in this scenario, there are 2 hits. That would eliminate 1 wagon. And there's a peace treaty, but not on both sides. There is a blank, but this cube was eliminated. It goes here. All right, so that blank wouldn't coincide. Now that that cube's eliminated, this group can now target this remaining one. Let's see what happens. So it's only 1. Still, you're rolling 2 brown dice. Still 2 green dice and 2 orange dice. And we have a hit, 2 blanks, 3 blanks. And over here, we have a treaty. So in this scenario, the wagon would not be eliminated, but this blank would cause this cube to advance into this section here. The engagement here is over. No new engagement would begin here. All right, just checking to see. Okay, I wanted to clarify a couple of rules. So in the rule book, I'm going to look at rule 12.1.2.1, attacking wagons. This is on page 12, and we go to the first paragraph, the last sentence, which is now in the second column, and it reads, white cubes do deny regional control to Indian players. All right, that rule is from an earlier rule booklet. It wasn't eliminated. The designer is scratching it, so that doesn't apply anymore. White cubes do not control regions. They do not deny control to the Plains Indians if there are cubes there at the end of the game for victory purposes. That rule is also implied here at the back of the booklet under victory point schedule, U.S. player. If you look here in this paragraph, it says, although in most cases wagon cubes cannot control a region, that is true, they cannot control a region, they can deny the Indian player control of the region they occupy, just like the rule I just read you. Scratch through that, or you don't want to mark up your book, just ignore that rule. That is no longer in place. So the scenario would be here, end of the game, and you have Indian forces in a wagon cube. So Indians would score this region. This wagon cannot control it, cannot deny control. So this would be 1 point for the Indian player. All right, what else? Got two cards here I want to talk about. There's a settler card and there's a Northern Plains card. Let's look at the settler's card and see what it says. It's James Beckwourth. No engagements against wagon trains for the remainder of the current disc draw. So on a settler's turn, that's the brown disc, they can play this card. And this is an enduring card. So what you do is you don't discard it. You keep it on the board or on the side of the board somewhere. And it's in effect through the settler's turn and all the remaining discs that are going to be played throughout that rest of the disc draw, drawn and played. And basically, there can be no engagements here or here or here. You just cannot move in and attack those regions. So that's a safe play for the settlers. Let's look at this card that applies to wagons. It's card number 4 for the Northern Plains Indians. It's Roman notes. And it reads, add 2 Northern Plain tribe cubes in one NPT region. Ignore all retreat and treaty symbols for the remainder of this draw. So in that scenario, green's turn, green disc draw, they play this card. It's an enduring card. It's not discarded until the end of all discs have been drawn and played. And in that scenario, basically, if you are fighting a wagon, all right, then and you roll a retreat, it's going to be ignored. Or you roll a treaty, it's going to be ignored. So this is going to be a situation where maybe it's a good time to go ahead and attack wagons by playing Roman nose. And let's see what else. Well, let's talk about the victory points again. So if a wagon is eliminated, it goes into the Plains Indian victory points box, and it's going to count as 1 point per wagon eliminated. If the wagon reaches the Rockies during the game, it's going to go into the U.S. player's victory point box, and it's recorded here, 1 point per wagon. Also, any wagons remaining on the trails at the end of the game would count as 1 point for the U.S. player. So in this scenario, Indians will get 2 points for eliminating wagons, and I'm looking at the board. The U.S. player would get 1, 2, 3, still on the trail, and 1 here for victory points. And I believe that may be it. Just checking. I think I covered everything. If you have any questions, then let me know under the comment section.